Ah, zeal. Can you feel it? Did you feel a little zeal there? A little bit? A little bit of zeal. Yeah, that enthusiasm, that energy that drives us forward. Last week we kicked us off on this journey of discovering that power within you, discovering that abundance that's in your life, and living from that abundance every day. And so this week we begin in earnest on that journey. And I invite you to bring your zeal along with you. It doesn't have to be the excited, out loud zeal. It could be just the quiet zeal. But it's that energy that moves us in the direction of our good. It's the energy that moves us in the direction of whatever we are focused on. So you might as well be focused on your good, yeah? I'm just saying, if you have a choice, and you have a choice. So today we're going to begin that journey, and we're following the book, The Art of Abundance. And The Art of Abundance is a book by Dennis Merritt Jones, I think. I keep wanting to call it Merritt, but that's his middle name. And it's The Art of Abundance and 10 rules for discovering and really living into your innate abundance. And the first rule number 1, be one with life. Be one with life. Now, this is the most important rule. So if there's only one rule you'll get, if you decide to check out to the rest of the rest of the weeks, then that's okay. But get this one rule. You are one with life. You're it. There's nothing that you need to do to become it. You're already there. What we need to do is rediscover it in our lives and make it a part of our life. So what do we mean by abundance? Let's start there. Because abundance is actually a principle. It is a law, a spiritual law, the law of abundance. And that is, there is enough in the universe, there's enough substance in the universe to satisfy any desire, any need, any want. There's enough there. That's the principle. It's always there. It's like that idea that Brenna talked about, that idea of God, that God is in us like the ocean is in the wave. And we are in God like a fish in the ocean. We can't see it because it's all around us. We don't recognize it or notice it because it's in us and all around us. It is us. It's how we express ourselves. Yet we forget about it. You get caught up in the day-to-day routine. You get caught up in all of the gossip and all of the news and all of the arguments that we have in our relationships. We tend to get caught up in things. In the book, Dennis talks about this idea of the principle of abundance being everywhere present. He quoted Emerson, where Emerson said, "We are in the universe, we see the universe as a solid fact, but God sees it as liquid flow." That universal substance, that presence that is God, is always flowing. And it's ready for us. It's infinite potential. And it's ready for us to pick it and take it and bring it into the world and create something with it. You don't earn abundance. We just have to learn how to accept it. And it begins with an open heart. It begins by opening our heart to this idea of divine love, opening our heart to this idea of flow, of allowing that energy, that harmonizing energy to flow through us. Opening our hearts. And it begins by opening our minds to divine inspiration, to divine wisdom, opening our minds to, the guidance that we can receive if we're just open and receptive. Now, sometimes we have to empty our cup, right? We have to let go of all of that stuff that we've been holding on to throughout this day. We have to let go of all of the stress and strain so that we have an empty cup so that we can receive that inspiration, so that we can receive and perceive that energy that's flowing through us. Abundance is that principle that it is always there, always flowing. There's nothing you need to do to earn it. It just is. Because God is. Now, prosperity, on the other hand, prosperity is our ability to reach into that substance and create with it, to bring into manifestation our good, to bring into manifestation whatever it is that we are focusing our zeal, our attention, our mind on. It's a perfect law, so when you're focusing on lack and limitation, what do you get? Lack and limitation. It's okay to speak up. When you're focusing on things that are good in your life, what do you tend to see? Goodness. Yeah, you tend to feel it. You get more energetic. That's your prosperity. You're creating all the time. Whether you're going to call it good or whether you're going to call it bad or whether you're going to call it, pajama day, you're creating it. So the idea here is that we need to understand first and foremost that we are one with that universal presence, that we are one with life. And just allow that to be a part of who you are. Allow that to guide you throughout the day. This week, just think, I'm one with life. I'm one with life. Can you affirm that with me together? I'm one with life. Yes. There's the idea, the problem that comes along is that we're going through life and we wake up in the morning, yes, I'm one with life, and then what happens? Life! Yeah, stuff happens. Life happens. And sometimes we call it good and sometimes we call it bad. But when we're focused on the bad, that's the direction we tend to go in. Because the problem is, over time, we have all been brought up with the belief that there is not enough. One of our core fundamental beliefs as human beings in this world is the not enoughness, as false as it is. And we believe that because we believe that we're separate from this substance, from divine love, from God. We believe that we're not swimming in the water. We don't believe that there's water around us. But we're swimming in it. That not enoughness is what takes us away from our perceiving good. Takes us away from that idea of knowing our oneness with the universe. That not enoughness. Now, the not enoughness comes through in many different ways. I mean, look in your life. Look in your relationship. I guess you can start with your finances. Everyone start with your finances. Could you all use a little bit more in your finances? Sure. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Because you're sensing that there's not enough. So I need a little bit more. Maybe in your relationships. You remember those relationships if you're in a brand new relationship? I don't know how many were in a brand new relationship at one point in time, but how it felt. And then, years later, it's like, well, it's different now. You're not giving me what I think you should be giving me. Because I'm seeking my good, my sense of worth in you. I'm seeking my love, my sense of love in you. Rather than seeking the love within me and giving it to you. You see how that flows differently? If you came from the perspective of, I'm here to love, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you in my words. I'm going to give it to you in the things that I do. I'm going to give it to you by how I show up in my own set of boundaries. What a loving thing to do. Here are my boundaries. And I'm going to hold my boundaries. If you break my boundaries, well, shame on me. Those are my boundaries. Thank you? No. I'm going to lovingly say no. How about in your career, in your post-career, in your retirement, in your soon-to-be career, in your school, wherever you are in that fashion of really doing stuff or learning stuff in life? Are you feeling complete in it? Are you feeling whole in it? Are you sensing, the good in it? Or are you looking at it as like, gosh, how do I get to the next level? I got to get to the next level. I think I got to go to the next company. And that may be true. That may be the path for you. But are you looking at it from the perspective of, here's my goal, and I'm continuing forward? Or here's what's missing, and gosh, I have to get out of here quickly? Are you looking at it from a sense of lack or from the sense of abundance? That while you're there in this present moment, there's something there for you to learn. There's something there for you to grow from in your retirement, right? In your youth, wherever you're at in this stage of life. And in this present moment is where it's at. We may be heading towards something in the future, but we don't get there by looking at the future. We get there by looking right now and taking that one step. So our practice this week is to really look at that place where we are experiencing a sense of lack and limitation, experiencing that belief of not enoughness. Where is the not enoughness coming in our lives? And you'll know it. Anytime you start, complaining about somebody, anytime you start, giving those sarcastic, I love, I have a PhD in sarcasm, so I'm a snarkaholic. I'm in recovery though, right? We're all experts at being snarky. We're experts at being sarcastic. We're experts at pointing out where other people are falling down. And that's the place that you need to look and say, okay, where am I like that? Why am I looking at life through that lens instead of looking at it through the principle? Now, Dennis says the principle of prosperity of any type begins in the unformed substance of possibility. So our prosperity, your prosperity in whatever aspect of life that you want to apply it to, in every aspect of life, health, your breath, your endurance, your relationships, your work, your hobbies, your finances, any place in life where you want to apply it, you need to apply this prosperity principle. With practice, living in alignment with the unseen principle of abundance will become as natural to us as a fish in water. But you have to start working at it. It's practice. Because we've been living our lives throughout history in this not enoughness. Throughout history. The collective consciousness, way back thousands and thousands of years, have always been around this separation between us and God. We're separate from God. That's the fall. All of a sudden in consciousness, we don't recognize that we're one with God. So we got to come back to that first principle, be one with life. I like to say life, love, and wisdom. That's my code for God. Life, love, and wisdom. Because it reminds me of, I'm not breathing, right? I'm being breathed. You can hold your breath, but sooner or later you're going to breathe. As much as you like to hold your breath. That is just a natural instinct. That life, that energy that flows through us, love, that harmonizing energy that comes from the heart, and wisdom, life, love, and wisdom, that energy that comes from the brain, the mind of God, all of that is one with that oneness mentality. In his great Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, Jesus was reported as saying, "But first, seek the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." First, seek the kingdom of God. Now, Jesus taught that the kingdom of God was within. It's a state of consciousness. It's knowing our oneness with that divine essence of life, love, and wisdom. It's being one with it. It's knowing that for yourself. And as you know that, and as you live from that, all of the outer things will be added unto you. Now, this was at the end, just the second to the last line in a paragraph that was devoted to one thing. Guys, don't worry. Stop worrying. How much of your life can you get back by worrying? How much of progress can you make by worrying? Absolutely none. Look, don't worry. The last line he had there in that paragraph, determine how you will use that which you discover and create a life of purpose and fulfill. No, that's the wrong line. Sorry. That's a different story. So the last line in this paragraph, Jesus was reported as saying, "So don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for today. Today's topics are enough for today." Now, trouble was a interpretation, right? But let's look at this from the state of consciousness. Let's metaphysically interpret that. Because the Bible is all about our state of consciousness, and we can apply that to our life every moment of the day. So first, he's saying, seek first that consciousness of God, that oneness of God, and all of the things will be added unto you. And second, don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about what's coming. Focus on this present moment. Focus right now. Focus on what you have and what you're experiencing and what's going on in your life right now. Be one with life. Now, each rule that we're coming up with has a premise, a problem, a principle, and a practice. So the practice that's being called here from that master teacher is the practice of mindfulness. Because mindfulness creates an awareness. Mindfulness brings you into the present moment. Mindfulness brings you into the present moment so that you have a conscious awareness of what's happening around you. So you can short circuit, right, that neuron that's firing, that's driving you into the stress and strain, that's driving you into lack and limitation, that's separating, that's creating that belief within you. Mindfulness brings that awareness back to you that says, oh, here I am. Look at me. I'm going down the path of my snarkism. Well, isn't that interesting? Now I have a choice. When I become aware of this present moment, become aware of my thoughts, my emotional state, I now take back my choice. I can now look at this and apply this differently. I can move to a different place. I can move back to my oneness with Spirit, with the universe, with the divine presence. And all it takes is a moment. Now, the practice may take you a while to develop the practice, but as you go through this week, I invite you to take some time every day to practice mindfulness. It's very simple. It's a breathing exercise. Be very mindful of your breath as you're breathing in. You might hold it for a moment, being mindful of the fact that you're holding it. And then release it. And feel the breath release. And then hold it. And then repeat. Excuse me. When we bring our attention to our breath, all of those thoughts don't have room. When we bring our attention to that breath, that Spirit breathing us, all of those concerns drift away. And in that moment, you have the ability to see things anew, to see things through the eyes of Spirit, through the eyes of your oneness with life. So as you're practicing this week of being mindful, be mindful and have a conscious intention to look for the good in your life. Be consciously looking for the abundance already present in your life. Be conscious of looking for the how abundance shows up in the universe. As you go out today, right, look at the trees in the parking lot and how the beautiful colors are springing forth. As you go out, listen to the birds. As you wake up in the morning, feel the cool breath, the cool air as you're breathing in. Be mindful of the abundance in your life. Because as you look for the abundance in your life, as you look for that principle of abundance outside of you, all around you, you'll begin to realize that you are swimming in it. And then it'll become fun. Anybody, when's the last time raise your hand if you've been grateful for something in the last month. Did it feel good? Yeah. So why not do it more? Yes, there are things that we're going to have to work on in life. Yes, there are going to be challenges in their life. Yes, there's things that I have to correct and work at in my relationships, in my career, in my hobbies, in my life. Yes, there are those things, and instead of making those the focus, making that lack, look at them as with the idea of yes, and at the same time, I've got abundance. I have prosperity in my life. Start noticing where your prosperity is. That's all. That's the task this week. As we breathe and become one with that spirit, that divine essence, notice how it is out picturing in your world. And as you do, what happens when you focus on something? It appreciates in your life. You will see more and more of it. You will see more and more of it in your life. You will experience that wonderful feeling that you experienced this month more and more. And that will start to rewire that brain of not enoughness. That'll start to put you into the position of knowing that spiritual oneness just by being present to it. So take a moment. There's a story in the book that I love. There's a school of fish in the ocean, in a lagoon. It's a beautiful, warm, clear lagoon. And the school, the master went to the school of students and said, okay, you have 2 goals on their final exam. One is to discover the secret of life. No big whoop. The secret of life, contained within you, you will find a life of wholeness and abundance. When you discover the secret of life, you will discover that within you is the secret to a life of wholeness and a life of abundance. The second task is to determine how you will use that which you discover to create a life of purpose and fulfillment, a life worth living. On these next several weeks, we're going to go through this process. We're all fish. He did give the fish one clue. He said, that what you were looking for, you were looking with. I have a few minutes. I'll tell you that. You want to hear the ending of the story? Okay, so anyway, the fish, they're all like, okay, let's go out. We have to go out. And they had to go out. They were instructed to go out into the big ocean. So they had to leave their little self-contained lagoon. And most of them, as they're going out there, the waves started coming up, and the oceans are vast and deep, and they got scared. There were big creatures out there. And all of them came back, save one who disappeared. Her name was Angel. And all of the fish that stayed were all concerned and worried about her. So what did they do? They started their stories, right? They created their gossip. They created their stories about how they were certain that the giant, shark ate Angel. They were certain that Angel got lost in the abyss. All of these stories. Does this sound familiar? Then one day, Angel came back. And the master said, well, welcome back. What did you learn? Angel said with great enthusiasm, with great zeal, as I swam through the great infinite ocean, I continued to think about the paradox. What I'm looking for, I'm looking with. And I kept repeating it until it became my mantra. Then one day, while effortlessly drifting with the current, contemplating the immensity of the sea and the beauty surrounding me, I realized how comfortable I felt, as if I had been born in the current. It was then that I instantly knew the secret of life. It is my oneness with the great infinite ocean. She was simply drifting in the current. She was simply being mindful of the beauty that was all around her, the expression of abundance all around her. And then she realized the secret of life is that I'm one with this great infinite ocean. I was born imbued with its essence. I am swimming in it, and so are you. Barely containing herself, she said excitedly, it's all about freedom. along with the realization that we are one with the great infinite ocean, one with the water, that it is present everywhere, we can use it to go anywhere, to do anything we desire. And the best part of it, contained in the water, is everything we need, not just to sustain ourselves, but to thrive and grow. And there is more than enough for every fish in the sea. That freedom, that sense of I'm enough, in any circumstance, in any situation, we can hold on to that freedom, hold on to that wisdom, and be one with life. With that, let us say our prayer for protection. Together? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for being online with us. Have a wonderful week. Namaste.